Star Wars 7x7 episode 3035. Six! The number is now 6 different Star Wars movies that are currently in some stage of development with Lucasfilm right now. We're going to talk about the late breaking news from Sunday night and the follow-up story that came out on Monday about the latest movie currently in development at Lucasfilm, at least rumored, because of course they haven't confirmed it. And we will run down where we're at with the other 5. Punch it. Hey Rebel Rouser, I'm Alan Voivod and this is Star Wars 7x7, your daily dose of Star Wars joy. And thank you so much for joining me for it. So let's start off with how the news broke. On Sunday, Deadline Hollywood, one of the trade publications out there, broke the news that there is a movie in development with Damon Lindelof, who's probably best known for being involved with Lost and the Watchmen series. And while that's certainly news in and of itself, possibly the bigger news about this had to do with the fact that they think the project is well enough along that they have gotten a director in talks, if not outright hired. That would be Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, and hopefully I've gotten close with the pronunciation there. She directed a couple of episodes of the Ms. Marvel series, and now, depending on when one movie comes out versus another, she may end up being the first female director of a Star Wars movie. Now, of course, none of this has been officially confirmed. Surprise, surprise. Deadline has this from multiple sources, and then The Hollywood Reporter chimed in and said that they were able to confirm with their own sources the story that Deadline was reporting. So basically, you can kind of hang your hat on this one. But then the next day, The Hollywood Reporter went one further and broke a story where their sources are talking to them about how the fine folks at Lucasfilm assembled a writer's room a couple of weeks after Star Wars Celebration. And I will link to the articles that I'm talking about here, the blog post for this show's episode at sw7x7.com and in the show notes as well. But there are essentially 4 big bits of information that have come out of this situation. Number 1, Damon Lindelof and Justin Britt Gibson are writing as we speak, according to this story. So the story was broken officially in these sessions that Lucasfilm set up. So they are now off and running in the writing situation. The second thing is that these stories are supposed to take place, or this story is supposed to take place after the sequel era stories. So it takes place after the events of The Rise of Skywalker. It's allegedly going to be a standalone movie. It is not part of some new trilogy. And finally, it is possible that characters from the sequel trilogy may appear. Now, I have to say, it's hard not to hear that and think about the fact that Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron was also supposed to be taking place after the sequel era, and to our knowledge was only a standalone movie. We hadn't heard anything about whether it was going to go on for 2, 3, 4 movies, whatever, or anything like that. But it does make you wonder if Lucasfilm is starting to think about the movie situation the same way that Marvel thinks about their cinematic universe situation. Certainly the TV series that are being developed by Lucasfilm right now do not take place beyond the sequel era movies, so there's not a one-to-one comparison there. But it is rather fascinating to hear that now there's a second movie in development that may be taking place or may be set beyond The Rise of Skywalker. So that's 2 of the movies that are currently in a stage of development. A third one, of course, we've talked about rather a lot on the show here. That would be Taika Waititi's movie, and his decks have been slowly getting cleared with Thor: Love and Thunder now out of the way, and I think he has one other project that is going to be done by the end of this year. And Christy Wilson Cairns, of course, is his co-writer on that feature. Supposedly it's in progress in the writing stage, but yeah, where it is beyond that, who knows? Then we have Kevin Feige's movie, which did tap a writer, Michael Waldron, who wrote the acclaimed season 1 of the Loki series, and then Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which, for me personally, that was not as great for me. So, yeah, what are you going to do? So he's apparently been tapped to write the Star Wars script that Kevin Feige is going to be involved with, but there's no timetable on that. And Waldron has been tapped to write the Marvel Secret Wars movie, which is going to be the last movie, or the big Avengers movie at the end of Phase 6 of their cinematic universe situation. So yeah, he's going to be a little bit busy over the next little while. I mean, I think that movie comes out like May of 2026, so yeah. And Loki season 2, so anyway, yeah, that's a ways out. And then we have Rian Johnson. Rian Johnson keeps popping up in the news because of the sequel to Knives Out, Glass Onion, that is about to arrive for us, and very exciting. So that's great, but because of the fact that he's obviously involved with Star Wars and there was a trilogy announced many years ago, everybody's going to keep asking about that at every opportunity, and at every opportunity he says, nope, I still want to do it. I talk to Kathleen Kennedy about it all the time, and I'm just busy finishing up with these Knives Out movies, and then I can check that out. And I'm only counting the first of Rian Johnson's movies in his trilogy as part of the 6 in various stages of development. So between Damon Lindelof and Patty Jenkins and Taika Waititi and Kevin Feige and Rian Johnson, that's 5. The last one, which we only heard about in one rumor that was never officially confirmed, but again, Hollywood Trade's reporting on it, so it's about as good as you're going to get, is the fact that in February of 2020, J.D. Dillard and Matt Owens were supposed to be connected to a Star Wars movie in development. But at the time, they also reported that it was undecided, according to their sources, whether it would be a movie or a Disney Plus series. And that has echoes and reminiscences of the Obi-Wan Kenobi situation, which was originally going to be a film, and then they reworked it and decided to do it as a Disney Plus series instead. So certainly that's a possibility here as well. But the original reporting was movie, so let's go with movie. 6 different movies that are in various stages of development with Lucasfilm right now. So for all the talk about pausing the theatrical situation, yeah, that's great and fine and well and good, and they are doing some great work on Disney Plus, that's for sure, but it's also wonderful to know that the movie situation is still in serious development. They are actually working hard on it and on multiple fronts. So I think that's a very good thing. And that is what I've got for you on today's episode of the podcast. So it just remains for me to say thank you so much for joining me for it, as always, and may the Force be with you wherever in the world you may be.
7 is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox, and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited, or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyright 2021 by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.